Hey Scorpios, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be taking a look at your upcoming Imbolc period, which is the beginning of February until the spring equinox in March. So I love everything about your reading. So let's talk about your meditation. So I was taken down into, it was like I was a bird and I was seeing something from like up above. It was like this crack, like in this sort of like a crack in like a mountainside or something. And I was taken down into this crack, and I was in sort of like a chasm, I guess. It was like this in between these two massive bits of rock, and there was this beautiful white horse. And I feel like, you guys are the white horse in this meditation. And it was such a stark contrast to its environment because this horse was so beautiful. It was essentially glittering, like pristine, beautiful horse. In this very dark and very cramped quarters, and it was like rearing up and whinnying and just very upset, felt incredibly uncomfortable, way outside of its comfort zone. And I saw it trying to break free, and it couldn't get anywhere. And then I saw this water came in, and the water started to rise and lift the horse up from where it was, up. But it was still very uncomfortable because horses are land animals. And so I saw it using its legs to try to swim, but it was still incredibly uncomfortable. But the water was bringing them up. And then it was sort of there. And then it was like just sort of treading water. And as it's treading water, I saw this beautiful canary come and land on its back. And the canary is very much a symbol. I feel like comes up for Scorpio a lot with me, but for me. But Scorpio energy is very much about being able to work with the energies and the truths that a lot of other people might find uncomfortable to sit in or be in. And canary medicine is very much about learning the lessons of what you have to say is incredibly important and needs and wants to be heard. But the way in which you say it makes all the difference on if the people who you're speaking to and sharing the message with are going to be able to receive it at all, right? So it's about speaking the truth, but with a certain manner of sweetness. And I don't mean sweetness like sugarcoating, but I mean sweetness in terms of meeting people where they are, as opposed to expecting them to adapt to you and what you have to say, right? So it's like kind of that middle ground. Remember, canaries were used in the coal mines, kind of a dark imagery there, but there is that contrast as well between that bright yellow, beautiful bird and a very dark place. So I saw this canary on the horse, and it felt like it was supporting it, but the horse was a bit like, okay, I'm still treading water here. And then I saw the canary, even though, it's a meditation, so it wouldn't physically be possible, but I saw this canary begin to lift the horse out of the water just by using its wings, lifted this enormous horse, this little bird carrying this enormous horse out of the water, and then placed it not on land, but in midair. And the horse found that when it put its hooves down, it was like on clouds, and it was like, well, I'm still not, now I'm just treading in the air. I'm still not in my element here. But then I saw that the longer it did that, wings began to sprout out of the horse's back, and it became a Pegasus. So I feel like the point of your meditation is that I do feel like there are going to be times during this period and moving forward where you feel very outside of your comfort zone. But your comfort zone is only dictated by what you think. Meaning that horse was like, I can't swim. Oh, but I can tread. Okay. Oh no, I can't walk on clouds. Oh, but I can grow wings. So that horse that was constantly looking for open land, the comfort zone, was never quite allowed to reach it because it could not transform into its full potential until it was willing to be truly out of its element for an extended period of time. So your cards here. you have the Serpent, which is just like chef's kiss perfection, because Scorpio energy is very, very close to Serpent energy because it's about transformation and change. You guys are change. You are the death key. So there is that aspect of, shedding your skin and emerging into something new, right? But what I love about that for you as well with the Serpent energy is that also moth energy as well, which is about our shadows and everything in our subconscious that we don't see and aren't aware of that can have power over us, right? Like Carl Jung said, what we aren't aware of has power over us, right? So it's about bringing those aspects of the subconscious into our conscious awareness. I do feel like that's coming up for you as well, right? And really also for you, it's really mining your own self-limitations and inspecting them and going, why do I have this? Why do I believe this? Well, what is this about for me, right? So that you have power and mastery and you have the option to change or edit them as needed, right? So this says, slither through and out as you shed in preparation for a new beginning. Whew, got shivers around that. It really does feel that way for you, Scorpio. And it feels like this new beginning really is on the other side of you being willing to really be out of your comfort zone, right? And feeling like I'm not in my element. But there's something in it, like a fish out of water, or like you're in a foreign land or in a foreign place or somewhere that just isn't entirely familiar to you, that it's going to yield the land of the greatest riches. That's what's going to give you your wings. Whew, beautiful. You also have the bear here as your animal for Imbolc, which is brilliant. It's beautiful earth energy to ground and support you. Bear energy is very much about being a master of timing and trusting what you know, right? You know what you know. So it's that Five of Pentacles aspect of, I understand that there's going to be times when I need to be alone in a cave and I'm in a period of my life where I am in hibernation, where things don't seem to be moving forward. There seems to be a certain aspect of, stagnancy. But I also understand that there's also periods of spring. And I'm going to be able to recognize those periods of spring because I'm going to keep my eye on what might be coming down the line for me, right? I'm not going to keep my head buried in the sand of the back of the cave. I'm going to have one eye looking out and so that I can perceive the shift in the seasons and when my personal spring is upon me. So the fact that this represents spring, we're looking at the period leading up to the spring equinox, and we're talking about this idea of shedding the skin and timing as well, and renewal and bear energy. It's really beautiful. I do feel like you guys are there might be some of you who are a bit pushed out of your personal cave. So I do feel like the cave is another symbol for your comfort zone. Okay. Really stunning though, bear medicine. There's also, an aspect of protectiveness and nurturing within bear energy as well. And I feel like that canary with that sun energy was, help lifting you up. It's beautiful because the fact that you guys came through as horses is really important as well. Because horses are about personal freedom, but also stepping out of your own perceived limitations and freeing yourself from, funnily enough, your own ideas and misconceptions of self that are being influenced by your unconscious, aka your shadow. Interesting. Imbolc is also known as Groundhog's Day. It's February 2nd. And that is the day where we have the groundhog come up and does it see its shadow and Puxatawny Pete and all of that. And so that shadow is really coming through for you, I feel like, in this time period, but it's really beautiful. And if you could just move through any sense of discomfort or feeling unfamiliar, that really is going to give you, what can I say, but your wings. The greatest freedom available to you is to become a creature that can fly. So your challenge here is the Seven of Cups, dragonfly energy, which is interesting, right? So this is about dreams deferred, but it's also about, getting into a place where you can see all of the options at hand, but you really can't click into, because your mind isn't clear, you can't click into that Ace of Swords energy that goes, this is for me, and so I'm going to commit to it. But I am hearing for you, and it feels like it's holding hands with the Aquarius energy a little bit, the Aquarius reading. If you want to watch that, I do feel like there's a similar theme here for the two collectives of Aquarius and Scorpio, where once you commit to something, only then will you be able to see it flourish. So it is about commit to it and then watch it flourish. There is something about that. Your place of victory, and as your advice, really, really stunning here. So your victory here is the Two of Cups. I mean, hello. beautiful water energy to represent your water sign selves. But Two of Cups is so brilliant because this speaks of partnership, right? And I keep thinking about that canary coming into that horse and lifting it to higher places and allowing it, to realize its own ability to grow wings. I feel like that's so, oh, it's so juicy. There's so much in that for you. I feel like for some of you, this is an actual partnership in your life. It could be work, romantic, that really has the potential to lift you up to a higher place, right? Through their support and also seeing you clearly, which allows, that mirror aspect of, being seen clearly also allows us to see ourselves clearly, but also seeing ourselves clearly allows others to see us clearly. It's, how that goes. But I also feel like, Two of Cups is also about our relationship to ourselves and how love really begins with us and how loving ourselves is really what needs to happen in order for us to attract a love that can truly love us for our authentic selves as well. So I love that this is coming up. I also feel like this is about looking at your own commitment because lobster energy is also about monogamy and commitment. And I feel like in this context, energetically, right? I feel like in this context, it is that coming back to that aspect of what you commit to, you will see flourish. So it really is about making that commitment, whether it's to seeing, making the changes you want to see in yourself on a personal scale or your work or some creative risk you're taking or some personal risk or whatever this is for you. It's really about committing to what feels right for you, coming out of this Seven of Cups with your challenge here, committing to it. And then as a result of doing so, watching it flourish, but be willing to move through times of feeling like you're not quite in your element, like a horse in water or a horse in the air, right? Your advice is the King of Swords, which get out of here. It's perfect. This is beautiful air energy. It's King of Swords is very much about having beautiful and wonderful access to the observer within you, right? So to be able to observe, right? And be able to perceive things clearly, that equals objectivity. Observation plus clear discernment equals objectivity. And when you have objectivity, you're able to see your circumstances in terms of all of the information that's available to you as unimpeded by your emotions or your personal biases or your fear. So the fact that your advice is King of Swords and your challenge is Seven of Cups, it's like you're being asked to upgrade and really step into your own kingship and ownership and power around your ability to see things from a place of clear-mindedness, right? Your emotions are your friends, but they should not be the only aspect of you that is in charge of making decisions, as you know. Your outcome here is so wonderful. Your outcome here is Eight of Fungi, which is Eight of Pentacles. This is someone who is, creating something. It looks like they're painting to me, but there's also this sculpture hybrid. It's really, really stunning. Traditionally, this is hard work and talent meeting up with divine timing. This really feels like this is an aspect of putting in the work, but it's stunning because there's this sense here of, with this outcome, knowing that the efforts that you make and knowing being willing to commit in itself is going to generate the energy needed to manifest what you're hoping to get out of this commitment, right? But more than that, even more than that. So it's like, it just feels beautiful because it's that energy of you're on the right track. You've got the right idea. And it's just about, there's that quote. I'm hearing this quote, and I think it's like unknown. I don't know who actually said it, but it's one does not discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. And that feels like that's coming through for you. I'm also getting an interesting parallel here. The snakes. Let's talk about Medusa just briefly. So I feel like Medusa is a really beautiful representation of part of the Scorpio archetype as well. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. But basically, so Medusa basically was, violated by Poseidon, just briefly, violated by Poseidon while working in the temple of Athena. Athena gets, outraged and blames the woman, of course. And so Medusa is born, and the snake's out of her head, and anyone she looks at will be turned to stone, so she's cursed. But it's interesting because she gives birth to, back to the serpents here, she gives birth to, out of the top of her head, she is the mother of Pegasus, right? Which is that winged horse, right? Which is technically the child of Poseidon. Poseidon, or rather, Pegasus is the product of Poseidon's, what can I say, rape of Medusa. So it's interesting here with that imagery as well, of bursting out of the top of the head and making something, or having there be a product of real pain, of being willing to go through something and trusting that, something that is of your highest and best path is going to come out of it. Now, her story is incredibly sad, but when we think about the idea of Pegasus and what that animal energy represents, it's so much more than the product of its beginnings, right? It's a symbol of hope. It's a symbol of victory, and it's a symbol of being willing to be so much more than what we believe ourselves capable of being. So I think that that's really, really beautiful for you, Scorpio. And ultimately, I do feel like this Eight of Pentacles here, the fact that it's a minor arcana also says to me, as this is very much, you don't have any major arcana. So this very much says to me that this period is very much a product of your choices, right? When you have a major arcana, there's going to be some elements at play that you just don't have control over, right? That are happening out of a destined event, or however you want to look at that, right? Or the choices of other people. But this is very much up to you, the blueprint of this time. And it feels like the more that you can work with your own ability to change and be that death key that you are, the more you'll be able to move, I want to say slither, move through this time, really knowing what is right for you every step of the way, and allowing your choices to come from your conscious awareness and not subconsciously affecting you through your fear, your biases, or your own limited thinking. So I do feel like this is and I say this in a positive way, I do feel like this is a loving challenge from the universe to you to say, okay, Scorpio, okay, Death Key, okay, Serpent, okay, Golden Eagle, okay, Dragon, oh, Golden Eagle, Eagle here, hello, synchronicity. How much are you able and willing to embody your own home energy? Our sun signs are energies that we came into this life to learn to embody. It's not who we inherently are. I don't know if you have ever heard that, but that is what I've learned to know to be true. It's your moon sign. That is who you inherently are when you're not doing the work, when you're not trying to be your best self, when you're not, transforming in a healthy way. You are your moon sign. Your sun sign is who you're here to learn how to be. You're learning to embody those traits. So you can apply this as it resonates in terms of how Scorpio shows up in your chart. But to my Scorpio sun signs watching this is a challenge to go, how much can you truly embody Scorpio energy and change and be willing to be uncomfortable and really move through a cycle and become a completely different animal? It's beautiful. And it really feels like a chimera as well, because I feel like this sculpture is two different people, right? It's Venus and Apollo, I think, right? The head of Venus and the body of Apollo, I believe. And then that idea of the horse and the winged creature. So it really feels like, how much are you willing to adapt and become something greater than yourself as you currently are? Because your potential is only limited by your own unconscious and what you're not aware of in yourself, and your own belief systems that might be limiting you, right? And your relationship to being willing to be uncomfortable and be out of your comfort zone and feel out of your element. The gold exists in being willing to be out of your element, truly, truly. But it's really beautiful, Scorpio. Stunning. You absolutely got this. With that being said, I so hope that this helps and resonates. By the way, I have to show you this. I would normally, but I just looked at the clock as we're ending, and it is definitely 1:11. So that's a sign for you. I love it. Let me know in the comments how you guys are doing. I did just release the 2024 year ahead videos. Check those out if you haven't already. Also, you might want to check out the Aquarius reading, because it does feel like, again, like these are holding hands a bit. and just I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I will be back with you again with some topical videos with some special guests I have coming on the channel, and also for Astara for the spring equinox. I'll be back with you every time the wheel turns, as it were. And with that being said, just thank you again. Thank you so much for being here, and as always, and most of all, just thank you for being you. And be well until next time.